spending your Sunday afternoon with us. We are very, very thrilled to have you here.
I want to thank everybody for coming out today. We're really excited to be putting on this forum, to hear from new voices and to keep the momentum moving forward, to get some new blood into City Hall.
Yeah.
We started this little endeavor because we were hearing from so many Berkeley residents across a wide range of issues and neighborhoods that they felt like the City Council didn't represent them, that they weren't listening to them. If your elected representatives aren't listening to you, how long do you keep banging your head against the wall talking to them? There's only one language these folks understand, the ballot. So we got to work. I want to thank all the candidates who come today as well. We have a full lineup of speakers, so time and timekeeping will be critical. Please keep your questions to 2 or 3 sentences so we can hear from the candidates. We're looking forward to a lively event and are anxious to hear candidates' frank views, so please extend your courtesy and civility to all of them. Finally, for those who have attended previous Flip the BCC meetings and are on our mailing list, we will be sending out emails through OPA Vote to vote on candidate endorsements. Please vote by Wednesday evening. Our first speaker, Moni Gangopadhyay. How'd I do, Moni? Is running in District 1 to replace Rashi Kesarwani as our two. So, without further ado, here's Moni.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this balmy afternoon. Thank you for being here. This is quite the crowd. A little bit bigger than the D7 crowd a couple months ago. My name is Moni Gangopadhyay. I'm a single mom from West Berkeley. I'm running for Berkeley City Council in District 1. I love seeing so many beautiful, familiar faces and some new ones as well. I have a daughter in the Berkeley Unified School District. She's in elementary school. I have been a policymaker for many, many years. And in California, I focused on clean energy policymaking. And most recently, I'm kind of on the other side of policy, which is enforcement. I investigate fraud. Ask me sometime how the two are connected. It may come up in this conversation. I am running on a platform of affordability, government and police accountability, and prioritizing city services, for example, sidewalk and road repair in equitable ways, and maintaining and creating and greening community spaces, especially in West Berkeley. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm open to your questions. Is that the next part? Yeah. Not the first one, so.
We have several questions that we know everyone is interested in. For example, do you support or oppose the Hopkins Street loss of parking and bike lanes?
Thank you for that easy one. I think that there is a Hopkins bike celebration going on right now at Cedar Rose Park. I have been committed to sustainable initiatives for most of my working career. I'm also a policymaker, and I've seen policy done well, and I've seen policy done not so well. With regard to the Hopkins corridor, I think the challenge with the proposal, right, that just got passed, where we're gonna have concrete protected bike lanes on both sides of Hopkins, without full studies on their impacts and whether they would address some of the issues that we've seen on Hopkins. We have seen a number of traffic injuries and a fatality as well, and it's incredibly tragic and preventable. I actually think that we need better, as someone who works in enforcement, we need better enforcement on our streets. because this is something that's not just happening on Hopkins. And we've kind of taken a crisis and pulled it in a direction that was going, I don't want to say too far too fast, because we've been working on Hopkins for so long. So that might not be it, but we needed to have better studies and community input to see whether this protected bike lane is going to serve its purpose, which is keeping us all safe. And I want to say something that I've said about in my videos. We all want the same things. When we're talking about these issues that are so controversial, when you look at the issue at the heart of it, we want the same things. We want accessibility, right? We want safety. And whether we articulate it or not, I think we all want to be part of this clean transportation future, do we not? Right? Thank you. So I think that if we're going to have bike lanes, we need to have the proper studies to do it, to make sure they're truly safe. I'm not 100% sure that a bike lane, for example, going on two sides that crosses so many driveways. Oh, I need to wrap up. I'm not sure whether that's going to achieve our safety. But if we are going to do it, we need to pair that with other accessibility options as we pull parking spaces out. Let's have a free and fast shuttle going up along Hopkins, right? Let's make the amenities on Hopkins accessible to all, not just people who can get on a bike and ride up Hopkins. There's many other people out there, including mothers with small children, with newborns. So yes, that's my response to that. It's a complicated issue. Thank you for asking it.
Do you support or oppose flock as a camera for surveillance in Berkeley?
Okay, thank you for that easy one. No, I do not. I mean, I can expand, but I don't think anything that violates our constitutional rights, anything related to surveillance of us in the public space, especially government surveillance, that just doesn't sound like a good idea, does it? We also know from data how harmful it has been, and the unintended consequences, right, of the misuse of this data by police, by federal officers, by so many entities that shouldn't have had access to this data. And entities that did, that were supposed to have access to data and were supposed to be responsible. So no to flock, no to any kind of surveillance in our community.
Do you support, oh yes, you have a question?
I want to know how you feel about small business. Do you think that's an important part of the community of Berkeley? Small business?
Yes. Yes, I think we need to prioritize our small businesses. It's something that Berkeley we have a proud history of promoting our small businesses and keeping corporate moneyed interests out. We have a history of prioritizing people over profits, people over corporations, and we have a vibrant small business community despite the struggles that many of our businesses faced, and some of them are gone through COVID and through competition with online shopping. We are still a community that loves our small businesses, that shops at our small businesses, and we can see it in the thriving businesses that are around us on San Pablo Avenue, on Shattuck, on Upper Solano, on 4th Street, there's on Telegraph. On Hopkins, yes, thank you very much. I think we need to protect these small businesses and do whatever we can as a city to promote them. They're so often owned and operated by women and people of color. These are people in our community. We need to support each other.
What is, oh yes. Paula?
Yes, can you let us know what your stand is on rent control?
I support anything that maximizes affordability and enhances the agency of renters over large and corporate landlords. So I support rent control, and I support extending rent control protections, for example, to golden duplexes and other aspects of our rental market, because we're in a housing crisis here, right? We need to do whatever we can to support people and livability in our community.
Yes.
Okay, hold on to this.
What do you think about alternatives to the police And what do you think is the problem with accountability in our city, with our city police? Why didn't the SEU work?
So, thank you, Andrea. I do support alternatives to the police. I think there are many situations in which we need people who are equipped, who have a mental health and behavioral health services background, who can approach situations that are volatile with more compassion and skill than perhaps somebody who is trained to, to someone trained as a police officer. I'll just say that. So I think we had a big conversation around community policing around George Floyd, and we need to bring that back. I also think that I appreciate the work of Flip the BCC because we need a city council that really values and supports the work of our Police Accountability Board. I'm long-winded, excuse me.
Do you support or oppose the police use of tear gas in Berkeley?
Asking me all these easy questions. No, I do not support it. The city has already paid a lawsuit against the city because of the misuse of tear gas by the Berkeley Police Department. It's about $125,000. That was a report by the Police Accountability Board. When we see these tools of force, like flock, well, I guess flock is the surveillance tool, and tear gas and helicopters and dogs, they haven't been working and they're costing our city money. I am completely against that. I'm completely against it, weaponizing our police against our community.
I have a follow-up question on rent control. I wonder what your position is on an older family that has a second property, and in order to sell the property, they have to pay over $20,000 to get their renters to leave the property voluntarily. That seems very punitive to somebody that perhaps is selling the property because they need the money for health care, and why should somebody who's had the benefit of a home be compensated by a landlord that perhaps has been quite decent for many years? It's penalizing an individual. It's not a corporate penalization.
Thank you very much.
What is the question?
I'll let you rephrase the question.
I understand the question to be, what is my opinion about requiring landlords that push out their tenants who may not have, who may be moderate income, right? Who may, I don't know, for whatever reason, need to ask their tenants to leave, paying the tenant $20,000. You said it was a little bit lower than that, but
Well, it can be more if the person is disabled. It can be $26,000.
Yeah.
Or if the person won't leave.
yeah. That's a really good question. I remember that measure. I'm a homeowner myself, and I thought, well, I don't think I can afford that, so I didn't vote for it. But that is something that I would work with my community, our community, to get right, because we do need to protect renters, and we do also need to acknowledge that many of our homeowners in Berkeley are low to moderate income, right? Especially the ones that have been here for a long time. I've been knocking on doors all over the city, and I'm meeting more and more low-income homeowners. We need to acknowledge that. We need to do better.
Thank you very much.
How much time?
Do you support or oppose the upzoning and high rises in the corridors of North Shattuck, Solano, and the Elmwood?
Well, you've already seen me stand beside many of you in these planning commission meetings and at the city council. Broad upzoning is a very blunt tool to getting what the city is purporting to do, right? Which is increasing housing, increasing affordability, right? I'm running on a platform to maximize affordability. And I'm not sure that the tool of upzoning is that, right? I'm very concerned about what upzoning will do actually in West Berkeley on San Pablo Avenue. We don't see that kind of support on San Pablo Avenue as we do in these other districts. The thing about upzoning is it's not just increasing housing, right? Upzoning is allowing for taller building structures along our commercial corridors, right? And when we do that, what happens is we're increasing the value of that land. So the small businesses, and I support our small businesses, many of whom have spoken up, are small businesses and some affordable housing, right, cannot afford the increase in rates or the increase in rents that the landlords that own that property are pushing on them, because they know that there's somebody who will pay a lot more, right, like a corporate entity, a corporate real estate entity that wants to build a 20-story building, right? We have already seen many businesses being driven out because of this. I'll just one example of, this is actually a local landlord. I don't know if you guys know Missing Link. It was a shop, a co-op, a bicycle co-op that was in our community for decades. And the landlord who owned that had plans to build a 20-story housing tower. They kicked Missing Link out. That was already struggling and could not move and start all over again. And never built that housing tower, right? We've already seen, I'd say one more thing about that. If you see what I used to live in uptown Oakland, or near there. That was a vibrant community with many shops, a lot of vibrancy on the city streets, a lot of retail around the theaters. It is now complete blight. If you go there during the busiest hours, everybody's in the car, there's hardly any foot traffic, and the shops are all boarded up, the first floors are all boarded up, and Oakland has hired artists to paint graffiti over it so that to hide what it is, which is blight. So I am for increasing affordability, increasing housing in a way that does not undermine the goal. As a policymaker, I've seen this, I work for the state, and I've seen the state, roll out these grand programs without a lot of thought. They're called public purpose programs. They're subsidies for clean energy, for solar, and for low-income utilities. What ends up happening is it creates perverse incentives and bad actors. So that's why I'm running, because we need a policymaker who understands that and meets our community's need for greater affordability in a measured and targeted and smart way. Now that's a challenging question. If I'm in support of the sales tax increase, and if not, what would I propose for fiscal solvency? Right? So generally, I am pro progressive taxation and anti-regressive taxation, right? We have enough wealth in our community. One of our slogans is "We take care of us." We have enough wealth in our community to ensure that we can achieve so many of our goals, right? We should be able to leverage that, right? Through, for example, maybe increasing the residential transfer taxes or introducing a commercial vacancy tax, right? Or what we should be doing is working with our state to implement a wealth tax, because that's what we need. Oh, I don't know if I answered the question, but generally I understand why they did it. And it's a quick measure to deal with a very pressing problem. But in the future, I would like to plan our budgeting in a way that we do not end up in this crisis at the end of the fiscal year.
Our one last question is, would you support the City Council passing resolutions on national and international issues?
Okay, so Berkeley has always been on the forefront of taking an ethical stand on international issues, right? We did so during the Vietnam War. Berkeley was the first city to take a stand on apartheid in South Africa. Yeah. We are still seeing many atrocities today, and while my priority is to serve the people of Berkeley, I stand with humanity, compassion, and ethics when it comes to international issues.
Thank you very much. Oh, you can have a closing statement.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We are at a crossroads in Berkeley, right? Where the rhetoric that we hear from our representatives isn't necessarily matching the substance. We hear our representatives talk about safety in the same breath that they're talking about flock. We hear our representatives talk about affordability and equity in the same sentence as they talk about upzoning and housing deregulation. We hear our representatives talk about community while making community spaces optional for the future development vision. I am here, I hope that you will support our campaign, not just with your votes, but with your volunteering time, with your donation, with whatever you can to build this movement to fight against this rhetoric, and to support a campaign that is committed to affordability, to accountability, and to community. Not just in rhetoric, but in action.
Wow.
Thank you very much, everyone.